Welcome to this episode of our property investing channel, where we bring you practical tips and strategies to help you maximize your profit and reduce your risk in your property investing journey. This is your host, Amisad, and today we are diving into the world of real estate investment with essential tips and strategies for effective property management. From maximizing rental income to maintaining property value, we will cover the key elements that every investors need to know to succeed. Our guest today is Trish Lopez, Director of Zebra Property Management, with over 17 years of experience in property management. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest, Trish. Trish, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Amir. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell us about your background and what inspired you to become a property manager.
Look, for me, I guess it was I've been in property management for almost all of my adult life. And it all started with me taking that first leap, finding my first home out of home at the young age of 21.
Wow.
And yeah, so not knowing the processes, I just remember going to that open for inspection. The lady that I met on site, she was lovely. She made everything, exciting, and finding your first home. And she really walked me through the whole process. And I thought to myself, oh, that's an interesting job. I'd like to do that one day. So for me, that's kind of where it all began. That appeal of, helping people, but then not knowing the background and what actually goes into being a property manager and the stress that comes along with it. But look, 17 years later, here I am and still enjoying the journey.
That's good. That's good to know. And I think if you love what you're doing, that's the key.
That's the key.
And I think that's why you're doing it for 17 years.
Yes. Look, I've tried to step away a couple of times, but at the same time, I just keep getting drawn back in, so it's a good sign.
Yeah, of course. So throughout your career in property management, what are some of the most significant changes you've observed in property investment landscape?
I guess, look, the biggest one that I've observed, and the most recent one, was all the rules and regulations that came into place in 2021. It was a challenging time for all of us, navigating, the new changes and regulations whilst we were all going through lockdown as well. So that was interesting, but it was around the minimum standards and what properties are expected to have in Victoria.
Yeah.
In terms of natural lighting, windows on locks, window coverings. As well as, I guess, the main one was the gas and electrical compliance checks that need to be adhered to every 2 years. So that's one that's hit a lot of our investors. I know that a lot of the other states have already got these in motion, but that was new to us a couple of years ago now.
Absolutely. And lots of people don't know about the complexity of these new regulations, and this is where you come in place to help them to understand the impact on their journey at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's
no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely when you first approach it and when it first came into place, it is a big impact financially on our landlords, especially those that have multiple investment properties, because these checks can cost about $500. But it's definitely important to make sure the properties are safe, and you are compliant as an investor. So it's very important.
So what is a standout challenge for your career as a property manager?
I think one of the things that really has stuck with me in the last 17 years was a situation once that we got into where a renter was falling behind with her rental payments. And people tend to dig their head in the sand a little bit when it comes to these. There was no contact, so we started doing the processes of the breaches and notices to vacate, notices of entry, because we felt something was just off. One of the things, I guess, when we finally got there, it was just quite sad to see the way the property had been neglected in terms of mess. But more alarming than that, for me, I guess it was just the fact that I knew that there was children involved. And as an office, we had to make the collective decision to report to the authorities
Oh.
for the health and well-being of the
Mm.
children. So that's always stuck with me. It's
Sure.
not a pleasant one, but you do come across these things when you're dealing with people's homes, and it's tough.
No, I 100% understand, especially for an amateur, even sophisticated investors, they don't realize how much is involved in property management process, especially if this is their first experience. We've seen it many times when we help a client to purchase an investment property. They just say, I want to reduce my cost by not using a property manager. And we just said, oh my God, this is very, very bad. And you put yourself in a very bad situation by not selecting a high-performing property manager. But from your point of view, can you just tell us why should investor consider hiring a good property manager?
Yeah, look, I guess one of the main things is that we do have the processes to screen good applications and to get quality tenants, and that's where it begins, and that's where you want to get it right from the beginning to ensure that that tenancy runs smoothly, because most of the time they do, and it's great, but when you do come across situations like the one that I mentioned, you want to have a property manager that knows the legislation, knows the rules, and is there to back you and do the processes that need to be done. So having the property manager in place to screen the renters to get a quality tenant, also making sure that the rentals are paid up to date. We've got the processes in place to make sure that the payments are paid on time, as well as enforcing that the rental payments come in on time. Other than that, obviously having the knowledge of the market and reviewing the rent regularly to make sure that you're getting the highest return on your investment property. They're the main things.
They can easily lose rental income if they don't know how much they can charge a tenant for. And this is, I think, where your role pay for itself, apart from keeping the value of that property. Because if you just select a poor tenant, they can damage your property in all forms and shape, which is definitely going to cost them a lot to repair.
Correct. It's not as simple as just finding the first application and picking that one.
Absolutely.
It's about selecting the right tenant, because as you say, yes, in the long run, it could cost them a lot of money.
What common myths about property management would you like to debunk in this session?
Well, that exactly. That people think it's easy to manage the property themselves. And just collect the rent, go in and have a look at the inspection at the property, conduct inspections. Some owners don't even do that when they're self-managing. But basically that in itself, that you do want an experienced property manager that knows what they're doing. They've had the experience in dealing with the tricky situations and how to navigate those when things do get tough. Because you actually need to, sometimes you need to experience that little bit of hardship to understand what it is to have a good quality property manager who's working for you, and not just in the sense of protecting the owner, but also keeping that tenancy going and flowing naturally. So it's a matter of managing their investment and also the tenancy, making sure that the renters are happy as well, to keep that going smoothly.
Happy tenants means stable income, and that's why you want to keep a good tenant in place, just to reduce your vacancy rate and increase your rental income at the end of the day, which a good property manager for sure can help them to do that.
Correct. And look, I don't know a lot of people who have that amount of time or free time in their hands to be able to manage investment properties. What our role is basically to take that stress away. You've got an investment property. You want to ensure that, yes, it's ticking over, it's doing what it needs to be doing to get the financial gains. But at the same time, you don't want that stress of having to deal with the repairs or, keeping up to date with the compliance or the reviews and collecting the rent, checking in on the tenant, making sure that they're maintaining your property to a standard. So our role is, really just to take that stress away, to make sure that that's all getting done, and you don't even have to think about it until, you know, we approach and say it's time for a rental review, or, you know, this maintenance item has arose and we need to act on it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely makes sense. So what we see is that different investors have different goals, different investment goals. So how do your services adapt to different investors' goals?
Yeah. Look, my agency is that's, I guess, one of the key items that sets us apart. I really like to listen to what each individual investor and client is after. Everyone is on a different journey in their property investment journey. You know, you've got the seasoned investors and you've got the ones that are just starting out. With the ones that are starting out, I love to guide them through exactly what is coming up and what needs to happen, and just talk them through what will happen. And then you've got your seasoned ones as well, where, you know, they know what to expect. So it's a matter of just adjusting to what each client needs and really listening to what they prefer way of us managing the property will be. Some owners want to be involved in the whole process of everything. Others are more hands-off. You know, you've got it under control, we trust you, you take care of it, and, you know, it's happy days. But yeah, it's a matter of really getting to know what that particular client wants, and offering them that service.
Absolutely. No, it's very important just to give customized service to clients with different needs, and not provide a one-size-fits-all strategy for sure.
No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. Always no, it doesn't work. So what's your top piece of advice for investors who are looking to maximize their success in the current market environment?
Look, my top tip for investors is just really keep on top of taking care of the property. So if you maintain your property to a standard, it's that quality of standard that you're going to get back as a renter. For rent, you attract that type of renter. So really keeping on top of the maintenance, not letting it build up, and you attract that quality renter, which also, you know, makes the property sit at market rate. You know, you're not ending one tenancy and sort of going, oh, now I've got to do this and this and this, and you know, you got the property off the market for 2 or 3 weeks, trying to bring it up to the standard where it needs to be. So I guess for me, that would be the top tip at the moment.
I 100% agree with you. So it's a balance of not losing money and having too much vacancy rate, which definitely a property manager with a good understanding of the market can absolutely help the owners to make a right decision in the right time.
Absolutely. And obviously, you know, you can have, as you said, consult with your property manager about what improvements you can make to potentially get that higher rental increase, whether it's, you know, installing a cooling system, a dishwasher, or, you know, giving the property a little bit of a freshen up with paint, new paint on the walls, new flooring. So these are the things that can definitely, you know, attract a higher rent. But you won't know until you get a property manager to walk through and obviously consult with you.
Absolutely. Trish, you shared so much valuable information with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Amir, for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure. So if you've liked what you've heard today, please like our channel and leave us a comment. And on that note, this episode is a wrap. We'll see you guys again very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.